my next question to all of you is that you are in places where there is competition from national brands. You are competing against lesser brands. Like Akshay has been in a competitive market for a very long time. So have you, Pawanji, and so has Raj sir been. So someone who's entering the market fresh would like to know that if you are going competing against the PVRs of the world, the Cinepolises of the world, how do you sustain and how do you endure in front of them? Because the natural impulse would be कि अरे यहाँ पे PVR है तो मेरे में क्यों आएंगे, यहाँ पे क्यों आएंगे? So you know the logical question that people will now ask कि ठीक है 1.25 crore per screen. But if a multiplex I'm adding, the next question is how to sustain the competition from the national chains, from better, bigger brands. So anyone can go first here. Yeah.
Abhishek, बड़ा सरल सा हिसाब है, right? I'll speak about, and I'm not saying this is a rule, but the strategy we've been following is pretty simple, right? मगरमच्छ से लड़ाई करनी है तो पानी में मत करो. When it comes to the national chains, their focus has been luxury, upmarket screens, catering to the value market. The day they entered, we knew that we have to pull up our socks. So we renovated. We did a lot of things to, bring up the upkeep of the cinemas. But we did it with a focus on the volume market. The kind of demographic that cannot afford going to a PVR once a month or an Inox once a month or a Cinepolis once a month, that became the core of our, focus. And fortunately, if you look at the way the Indian market is right, I mean, there's space for every segment of the social strata to go to the cinemas. There is an Inox Insignia or a PVR Gold Class, a Cinepolis VIP, and then there are standalone cinemas where tickets sell for as low as 60, 70 rupees. So, and thankfully, the volume market is 75-80% of India's population, right? So, we've been very crystal clear in making sure that we shift our focus entirely from the audience that goes to, a PVR Inox, because however much I spend, whatever I do, the economies of scale that these national chains enjoy on a lot of aggregators and partnerships, I'll never be able to do with my numbers, with my 17 cinemas. And that's why we were crystal clear, ulta chalte, and focus on the volume market, and that's thankfully paid dividends. So rather than trying to get the highest SPH out of every patron, we try to focus on the footfalls and get more people in.
So has this worked well for you in terms of getting more people into the fold? Has the pie expanded?
Absolutely. I mean, see, if you look at the national figure, right, the footfalls have actually been decreasing steadily.
Correct.
Thankfully, because of this lower, cost of movie going. I'm not just saying cost of the movie ticket. I'm saying cost of movie going. F&B for us has been reasonable, where we don't price anything above 100, 120 rupees as an SKU. Ticket prices are average ticket prices 120 rupees on, in general. And there are segments of the auditorium where it's lower. There are segments which is higher, but that's the average. And that is something that most people who want to step out into the cinemas can definitely afford. And that's actually worked well in allowing us to sustain.
Okay, Raj sir, you wanted to add to this? Sir, I think your audio is off.
Pawanji mentioned that. एक second, sir.
Yeah,
can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
As Akshay mentioned that on a micro level, will not जाके एक multiplex के बगल में खोलना नहीं चाहिए. I understand that. जैसे कि Pawanji is also mentioning. But see, there's a point of view from distribution side, that is the stakeholders, and also a point of view from the cinegoers side. Cinegoers का ज़्यादा मायने रखता है क्योंकि distribution side formats will keep on changing, and cinegoers का तरफ से we have at least 10 instances in Hyderabad where multiplex को लग के single screen भी है ना, वो situation ही है ना, तो दोनों भी चल रहे हैं क्योंकि format is changing, everything is becoming on demand, audience is empowered with on demand. परसों एक बात हो रही थी, banking has become 24/7, right? Everything मैं जब चाहूं वैसा हो जा रहा है. मैं यहाँ पे ये थिएटर में नहीं वो थिएटर में देख लूंगा बोल के ऑडियंस का बिहेवियर दिख गया. तो उसको ध्यान में रखते हुए वी कैन से big screens, small screens can coexist because audience का मतलब there's a large capacity of जैसे कि I would also say like in Los Angeles, Pasadena और Beverly Hills पूरे अमीर लोग रहते हैं, वैसा अपना सिटियों में नहीं है, काफी मिलजुल के है। ऐसा नहीं है कि एरिया में यही चलेगा, तो काफी मिलजुल के एक बड़ा हाई एंड सोसाइटी के बाजू में लो एंड भी रहता है। सो दैट्स आवर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन इन इंडिया। सो टेकिंग एडवांटेज ऑफ दैट, I think we can get a little close to a multiplex and both भी चलेंगे. That's what I feel.
Sir, my question to you is that you are surrounded by the Prasads, the
Yes.
AMBs, the Allu
Yes.
Arjuns, the most
Yeah.
luxurious theaters. The
जी.
question is, why do people in Hyderabad still come to a Sudarshan and a Devi? How have you managed to maintain that, that factor by, being in the most competitive markets in India? Hyderabad is definitely the most screened market. In terms of pricing, it was very, very competitive. In that space, you are still running a single screen successfully and giving out great numbers. How have you managed to do that? And that is, I think, what the viewers would like to know कि भाई इतने competitive शहर में प्रसाद बगल में है, आईमैक्स है, पीवीआर है, सिनेपोलिस है, अल्लू अर्जुन का सिनेमा है, महेश बाबू का सिनेमा है, फिर भी राज सर इज मैनेजिंग टू मेंटेन द एज फॉर सुदर्शन एंड देवी।
या उसका आई वुड ऑल्सो से, आई वॉज थिंकिंग वाइल यूर क्वेश्चनिंग, उसका अपना इंडिया का पॉपुलेशन भी हेल्प कर रहा है।
ओके,
अवर इंडियन सिटीज आर वेरी वेल डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड एंड
राइट,
लार्ज इन नंबर्स, तो ये भी चलेगा वो भी चलेगा। एंड आवर डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन thought process on demand बहुत बदल गया। People who are been in the business can tell that long time ago 4 weeks was a flop, but today 4 दिन चले तो भी मस्त है। 4 दिन में पैसे आ रहे, 4 दिन में पैसे आ रहे कि नहीं प्रोड्यूसरों को आ रहे, that means all of them are wanting to see. So our screen density is not enough, it cannot be enough to consume all the population, क्योंकि वो
राइट,
एरिया का पॉपुलेशन एक 5 लाख रहता, वो एरिया का पॉपुलेशन एक 2 लाख रहता, 2 लाख seed can be consumed. I feel, Vishek ji, Akshay, I feel if you make a 4 lane highway, 4 lane भर जाएगा 2 साल में. If you make a 8 lane highway, 8 lane भी भर जाएगा.
दैट्स
तो
अ नाइस
वैसा मेरे को
एग्जांपल।
लगता है. I think we should head towards more penetration of screens, and that can, and our cities can digest. It'll make them. So पूरा एक ही दिन को आएगा शायद. पवन जी, पूरा एक ही दिन को आएगा शायद बिजनेस. आज तो 3 दिन 4 दिन का है ना, तो पूरा एक ही दिन को आएगा, उतना तो कोई मल्टीप्लेक्स ओनली हाई एंड फ्यू स्क्रीन्स विल नॉट सस्टेन। एंड विथ रेस्पेक्ट टू, आई फील विथ रेस्पेक्ट टू ओटीटी और डिप्रिवेशन ऑफ कंटेंट एज अक्षय सेड राइटली, और एआई, परसों एक परप्लेक्सिटी एआई का कोई यूट्यूब पे डिस्कशन देख रहे थे, आगे मूवी मेकिंग इज गोइंग टू बिकम मोर एंड मोर इजियर
इजी,
सपोजिटली। तो डेफिनेटली कंटेंट हफ्ते को एक आए शायद, आएगा शायद, बस वाओ, एज पवन जी सेड, वी आर द बेस्ट फॉर्म ऑफ एंटरटेनमेंट। In fact, I feel, will we get faded out, our theaters? No, because every week there's a new hero. It's his
राइट।
job to get the audience in, right? So we are in a best position to increase our density. I don't know if I've answered your question,
No,
Abhishek ji.
sir, you have. Sir, and one more thing I want to know, that in terms of Sudarshan and Devi, if I had to
जी.
really like ask you three things that
Yeah.
have kept the audiences coming back for more, so that the people who are listening to this can be confident keep opening a single screen and they can sustain. I want to know three things that single screen should do.
Cleanliness,
Okay,
people want some clean environment,
right,
which projects that these people who are maintaining are interested in, they respect the customer. जैसे कि दुकान में कोई गया, वेटर बोलेगा क्या होना, फिर कहीं को आए बोले तो वैसा नहीं ना, यस सर, व्हाट डू यू वांट, गिव अ पापड़ और समथिंग. सो द इंटरेस्ट, क्लीनलीनेस इज वन थिंग, एंड टेक्निकल स्टैंडर्ड्स इज वन थिंग, एक्चुअली टेक्निकल स्टैंडर्ड्स.
okay,
एंड आप सही बोले, तीसरा थिंग इकोनॉमिक्स, तीसरा थिंग
pricing,
एक्चुअली important things. Yeah, good.
hygiene, technical
Yeah,
and pricing.
absolutely. Yeah,
Perfect,
yeah,
perfect. Pawan ji.
Yeah, as Akshay said rightly, that with the pricing, you can attract more audience because India is 80% of mass audience. And but I must say that what elite audience wants, the mass audience also wants the same in terms of quality. They don't want to really compromise. So we can coexist on one factor is we provide somehow somewhat near to that quality in technical terms like projection, sound, and seats. These are three very important factors because most of the time an audience spends is inside the auditorium most of the time. So these three things are inside the auditorium, which are very critical for him to sustain, to keep repeating so that he comes back again. F&B has been very important factor because I have seen people they come कि यार वहाँ का बर्गर बहुत अच्छा है चल वहीं चलते हैं खाने हाँ भाई वहाँ का
Interesting point.
हाँ वहाँ का पॉपकॉर्न बहुत अच्छा है या वहाँ चीज पॉपकॉर्न हम खाएंगे यार सस्ता भी मिलता है और अच्छा भी है तो with these factors keeping in mind we can coexist. What my point was that we should not open next to these multiplexes so that if we are opening a new cinema, we should really avoid. We have a limited budget, like suppose I have 2 crores to invest. So why not? We have 5 options. So why not choose that option which is best for us? Why go in for next to Magarmach? I mean to say that. हाँ अगर हमारे पास और ऑप्शंस हैं तो वी शुड डिप्लॉय आवर फंड्स which can give us maximum returns which
Right.
place can give us maximum return and with the disposal income increasing you can see I think Raji is very old in terms of experience मुझे भी याद है बचपन में हमारा सिंगल स्क्रीन 1960 का है एंड आई वाज बोर्न इन 1977 तो मैं देखता था साइकिल्स बहुत होती थी हमारा 840 सीटर होता था तो आई वॉज वेरी फाउंड ऑफ काउंटिंग दी साइकिल्स तो मुझे याद है 200 250 साइकिल हो जाती थी व्हेन इट वाज हाउस फुल 840 सीट but with the time now you can see the motorcycles have taken place and now cars are taking now पहले उस समय मुझे ये भी लगता था कि अगर 2 कार भी आ जाती थी ना मुझे लगता था कि यार बहुत बड़ी पिक्चर है लगता है कार से आई है पब्लिक देखने तो हाँ तो आज के सिनेरियो में लोग कार वाले ज्यादा होने लगे हैं एंड डाउन द टाइम मे बी 5 years डाउन द लाइन और 10 years you'll see cars will be more than motorcycles. So what I mean to say, what I wanted to say is the disposal income is increasing, and as the disposal income is increasing, people will go every week. They want to spend out somewhere with the family, and as I earlier said also that it is a where you get a change every week, and in times to come, the cinema business will increase with the disposal income increasing.
So, Pawanji, my question is that, Pawanji, my question to you is that, see, Akshay and Raj sir are single screen. I am also single screen. You are competing in terms of, multiplexes head on with the PVRs and the Cinepolises and the Mirages of the world. So, someone who wants to open a new multiplex somewhere where there is existing national players, what are the 3-4 things that he needs to keep in mind in order to survive and be profitable?
One thing is we need to match their quality in terms of seating, the aesthetics, and the food quality. And we have to keep prices at least 30 to 40% lower to them. Not in ticket prices, but in F&B.
Okay. So quality needs to be matched.
Quality needs to match in terms of technicals and services. Like Raj sir said, that hygiene is very important, especially for women audience, the better half you can say, or the fairer gender you can say, they want hygiene. I mean, for men, hygiene is not a very big concern, but for women audience, if you want to attract the women audience, hygiene is very important factor.
Yeah. Akshay, you were adding something to it.
Yeah, I mean, something that Pawanji spoke about actually got me thinking. If you remember back in the day, right, before the multiplexes had come in and the aspect of standardization came in, where a PVR property or an Inox property in a Bombay looks very similar to what it is in Delhi versus, even a property of the two properties of these chains in the same city are pretty much alike in terms of a lot of their offerings. If you remember back in the day when all of us started operating, at least like I can speak for Nagpur, right? People used to actually say कि यार वो स्मृति का समोसा बहुत अच्छा है उसके लिए वहां चलते हैं. Liberty Cinema का veg puff बहुत अच्छा है. So there used to be these very unique small offerings that actually became the extended identity for a lot of screens in cinemas, right? Like even among multiplexes, if you remember Satyam Cinema, which was a chain in Tamil Nadu before PVR acquired it, had phenomenal footfalls where people used to proactively choose Satyam for the unique popcorn offerings they had, where there was no cheese or caramel or salted flavored popcorn. There was basic popcorn that was given, which had absolutely no flavor, and bottles of different kind of condiments were kept there for you to make your mix of whatever flavor you want out of it. And that is something that the people of Chennai used to absolutely love, which unfortunately now in the standardization process has gone out of play. So these unique offerings, unique aesthetics, unique food and beverage angles, the unique screen curvatures, all of that I think is something that's really gone out of the window, and I find that to be very unfortunate. I really wish that all of us, rather than following that vanilla vignette matchbox format, which everyone's right now replicating, I really wish that we can be a little more unique with our aesthetics, be a little more localized. Like I'll give you an example, and I was absolutely in awe. Right, in if I remember it right, near Pondicherry, there's an area called Kadlor, and one of our friends whom we know in common, Mr. G.R. Durai Raj, he has a bunch of cinemas there, and I happened to visit him at one of his cinemas called Krishnale. Vishek, I kid you not, the offerings were so amazing in terms of one, forget about everything. When you walk in, the fragrance that was, uniquely there across the entire premise from where you enter right up to the auditoriums. The मोगरे के फूल की खुशबू, which is not with any essence or any kind of room freshener. They actually had flowers laden out everywhere. They had a phenomenal gallery of some of the most iconic movies that were, a part of Tamil cinema, which is like a museum of sorts. They, as a policy, don't do PepsiCo and Coke on the grounds of, the better health for their patrons, and they have their own unique beverages from fresh nariyal pani to fresh juices. If they are children and toddlers, there's actually fresh hot milk they offer. If they are toddlers, they actually have a section in the balcony with a cradle and a silent room for mothers and toddlers. Now, these sort of things are phenomenal, I think, and the fact that some people are still upholding these sort of specializations and these unique offerings, I wish we could all do them in our own ways for the kind of markets that we operate within the patrons we do this with. And that would be so much fun. The last time I remember doing this, if you remember when Dabang had released, right? Munni Badnaam was in absolute rage, and we figured that the whole auditorium is turning into a discotheque. Day two, we made sure that in the auditorium, we got disco lights installed. And when the song played out, those came on and it became a huge bloody party. So now these are small, unique things that become a part of people's memories. They've really enjoyed this, and that's what makes them, really patronize those cinema halls and value those little additional experiences that we offer to them. And that I think has gone missing in this day and age. Rus nikal gaya hai, and I really hope we can bring that
This
back
was
in.
this was done in Hum Aapke Kaun also. The disco lights wala. Hum Aapke Kaun also, it was also done. We did it in
Screen
cinemas.
we see, we'd actually
Screen
done
ke around.
to go into a discotheque. We'd done those disco balls and all of that. So
Yes,
through the auditorium, where the audience is dancing and celebrating, it literally became a party, and
Yeah.
that was so
I
heartening to
remember.
watch the audience having a blast. No, like unabashed.
I remember we did it in Hum Aapke Kaun in Didi Tera Devar Deewana song, and we have all around the screen these disco lights, multicolored lights. And it was a rage. I mean, people used to like really enjoy, throw money also.